welcome, and thank you for joining us for our final roster evaluation video for the 2021 offseason for the Minnesota Vikings. We're going to wrap things up today with the quarterback position. We have saved the best for last. If you wish to watch any of the videos on the other positional groups, both offense and defense, you can click through to the channel, go to the Minnesota Vikings 2021 season playlist. You will find them all there. They're sporadic and spread out, but if you look closer towards the end of the playlist, you'll find most of them. So we were able to get this in under the wire. I wanted to get this finished before free agency began. We have accomplished that goal. Free agency, of course, starts on Monday with the legal tampering period, and then we have Wednesday where everything kicks off and is official, and it will start to go crazy. We will find out in a number of days what the trajectory of this team really is. And for the quarterback positional group, which we are going to start with right now, I don't know how to feel about it. I got to be honest. I don't know what direction I want to go with this, because at the top we have a good/great quarterback, but after that it doesn't feel like we have too much of anything else at the backup position or anything that's ready and waiting down the line. We don't have a developmental project right now. We'll get to the Nate Stanleys and the Jake Brownings of the world here in a minute. And there's also the issue of Kirk Cousins' contract, which let's just, rip off the Band-Aid and talk about that right out of the gate, because it's a problem. I'm not going to say that, it's something that we have to do. We don't have to do this. We don't have to spend 16% of the salary cap on the quarterback. And, the statistic that's been getting thrown around recently has been that there has been no team that has won a Super Bowl who rosters a quarterback with that makes more than 13% of the team's total salary cap. And we're at just over 16 with this contract that they extended him on a year ago. And I think we can all agree that, at least from a financial standpoint, that contract extension was a mistake. The timing of it was a mistake. I understand why they did it. They freed up money for the 2020 season so that they could get like a Michael Pierce and a Yannick Ngakoue, which was another mistake in and of itself. But I feel like we are going to be hamstrung going forward. All the things that we've had to do up to this point in free agency, or pre-free agency, if you will, to create cap space, I think has been the result of these bloated contracts that we've given out to the veterans over the last number of years. Anthony Barr, Kirk Cousins. In a few years, Dalvin Cook's contract is going to become an issue. We're not quite across that bridge yet. His current year is still totally workable, but that's going to be a problem down the line. But yeah, it feels like one of the big things that Kirk Cousins stands, say in his defense, is that we need to improve other positions on the field, right? The defense played poorly. We don't have a pass rush. The pass blocking is bad. The offensive line is crippling him. Just all these things, all these excuses. Explain to me how you intend to field a championship team with 16% of the salary cap allotted to just him. It's going to be difficult. It's definitely a problem. I would be less upset about Kirk Cousins, and if you've been subscribed to me for a few months, or at least since the Atlanta Falcons game in the middle of last year, that I'm not exactly his biggest fan. And I think that this team would be better suited to move away from Kirk Cousins, because I am not signing up for good/great quarterback play. I want elite quarterback play. I want to win a Super Bowl. I don't want to go 10-6 and get one and done in the playoffs. We've done that so many times, right? I've been a Vikings fan since the early 90s. I'm sick of it. Just to put it bluntly, I don't want to do no more of these, we won 10 games, we're in the playoffs, and we're done because we ran into the team that's going to go to the Super Bowl and they punched us in the mouth and we weren't ready for it. I understand that if we come up with a formula that creates a situation where the rest of the team is really, really good, Kirk Cousins will probably play out of his mind. And the reason that I'm sort of on the fence on how to be honest with myself about this positional group for the Minnesota Vikings is because Kirk Cousins played very poorly in the first half last year prior to the bye week. And then after the bye week, they sort of babied him along for a few games. And then he absolutely hit the ceiling last year. He played out of his mind down the stretch in the second half. And statistically, everything looked fantastic. But that's another thing that I don't care about. I don't care about him being top 3 in this stat category. I don't care about him being top 5 in this stat category. I don't care. Those aren't trophies. Those aren't playoff wins. They aren't championships. Stats are great. I love stats. Adrian Peterson was fantastic. I'm happy I got to watch all of his record-breaking performances. It was fun doing it. But that's only half of the equation. And one other thing that I want to address when it comes to Kirk Cousins stands, I'm not trying to bash him because I think he's a terrible player. I actually want to give him some credit. The way that he came back in the second half of last year after that piss-poor start in the first half of the season, props to him, because he could have just melted down and exploded the rest of the way, and the Vikings really would have had a problem on their hands, because they would have been like, oh shit, a whole season, of Kirk Cousins playing really bad is going to sabotage us and get us fired. We got to get rid of him. But he played well enough in the second half to reinstate faith in the front office and Mike Zimmer to be the guy. I don't think he's a bad quarterback. I really don't. I think he's good/great. He has the potential to be really great. He also has the potential to be really bad and sabotage this team. And he's one of the reasons, he is one of the reasons that we started as poorly as we did last year. That 1-5 start. It's not all on him. But here's the thing. In order to be fair about this, we cannot completely absolve him from criticism when the team loses, just the same way where we don't put it all on his shoulders when the team wins. He is partially responsible for this team winning. He's also partially responsible when this team loses. I understand the offensive line is bad. I understand the defense last year was piss poor. We also didn't play that difficult of a schedule last year, if we want to be honest with ourselves. We had the Cowboys, we had the Panthers, we had the Jaguars, for heaven's sake. The Jaguars game, you remember watching that thing? That was a struggle bus and a half. It's the team that's currently picking number 1 in the NFL draft, and we really went toe-to-toe with them. That should not have been a close game, and it ended up being a close game. We also played the Lions twice last year. The Bears weren't very good down the stretch. We got a win against them on Monday night. We stole one from Green Bay because of Mother Nature. It's just the Falcons were a terrible team. They're picking 4th. We lost to them. Then that was the 3 interception game in the first half for Kirk Cousins. So I expect better. I expect better. All these statistics are great. All of the statistics and categories that he leads in, or is top 5 or top 10 in, that's fantastic. It's got to mean something more than that, right? At least in my opinion. And the fact that we pay all of this money to a quarterback and we are not consistently in the playoffs. He's been here for 4 years. This will be year 4. We've been to the playoffs once since he signed that $84 million guarantee contract. It's not all his fault, but he is partially responsible. Moving on. That was a long talk for just one player, but that's positional group. That's how it works. Sean Mannion is currently a free agent. I have him listed because recent reports indicate that there is some confidence that he's going to return to the team, which just blows my mind, because I think Sean Mannion playing any sort of meaningful snaps in the NFL is a nightmare scenario. That is some Freddy Krueger shit. That is not where we want to be. Kirk Cousins has never missed a game due to injury. I'm confident in that, which kudos to him, being, durable despite playing behind paper-mache offensive line in Minnesota. I'll give him credit for that. But maybe he's due, and that's a scary thing to think about. And if we are starting Sean Mannion, it's not going to be Case Keenum 2.0. Throw that shit out your mind, because that was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that's never happening again. That was magic. Sean Mannion starting would just mean that the season is over. We do not have a good plan B for this team at quarterback. The backup is not great. The prospects are not great. There's nothing worth developing. Jake Browning has been a career practice squad quarterback so far, although he hasn't been in the league very long. Nate Stanley was a 7th round pick last year from Iowa. 7th round picks don't pan out at the quarterback position. I'm sorry, but I don't think it's ever going to happen. I don't think they want to give him the time of day to even see what he's made of. Maybe if we get a preseason this year, we could finally see what they're capable of. But in my opinion, everything behind Kirk Cousins is a recipe for disaster. They need to draft a quarterback. ESPN.com's beat writer for the Vikings, Courtney Cronin, said it best. They have to figure out something long-term. I understand that their feet are to the fire. Their seats are getting warm. Mike Zimmer and Rick Spielman, they still need to think about what's in the best interest of the team going forward. They can't just be thinking about this season and this season alone, because in my honest to God opinion, having done all these roster evaluations over the past month and a half, this team isn't good enough to win a Super Bowl this year unless we catch lightning in a bottle. That's my honest to God take on this roster. It's just not deep enough, especially at positions that are premium, right? We have one quality, offensive tackle right now. We have one quality pass rusher, assuming Danielle Hunter comes back. We are overpaying at the off-ball linebacker position. We have real lack of experience at corner, despite Dantzler and Gladney, putting them through their best efforts last year. We really need to figure out something to do with the quarterback position going forward, because we just don't have anything for the future. Kirk Cousins is 33. He's going to command a lot of money next year. There's a chance that he's maybe not on the roster next year, but that's all going to sort of, come into better focus at, the end of next week, when his 2022 salary gets kicked in as fully guaranteed. So that's something to watch out for. We are on a timeline that we have just gotten closer to without really realizing it. So yeah, that's where I stand on the quarterback position as a whole. We talked a lot about Kirk Cousins today, and the backup situation is not great, and I don't understand what this team sees in Sean Mannion. So that's going to do it for this video. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I think Kirk Cousins is a good/great quarterback, just to summarize, and I think we are going to be seeing him as the starter of the Minnesota Vikings for the next couple of years. I'm okay with that if we get second half of 2020 Kirk Cousins and not first half 2020 Kirk Cousins. That's going to do it for this video. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.